Day 44 of my 30-day van conversion challenge. Today was a bit of a slow day as I was installing more cabinet fronts and probably spending way too much time trying to make them perfect. Thank you to the person who suggested to me to use double-sided sticky tape to get these in the right place. I didn't have any sticky tape, but I did have these stickers and they worked really well. I just pulled them off once I'd put a couple of screws in. This is the first drawer I installed and you can't really see it in the video, but once I got it in, it didn't sit flush on the right-hand side with the bed wall. This is the kind of thing that really annoys me and I find it hard to ignore, so I did spend quite a bit of time trying to fix this and I didn't actually manage to, so I moved on to something else. I swapped out the stickers that I'd put up yesterday with these magnets to help hold this part in place. My new pump arrived and I was a bit confused because it had screw-on connections instead of hose clip ones and I didn't know if I needed a different part to get this to work. I ended up pushing the screw cover onto my hose and then screwing it back onto the connection. I definitely didn't expect this to work as I don't really understand how this creates a watertight seal, but it did and I was so happy to have that part done. I still need to do a few more things to completely finish the plumbing system, but for now I went back to doing my cabinet fronts. I'm installing a pull-out worktop with a hob here, so I have two battens on slides and I'm using angle brackets to attach the worktop to them above. I was very pleased with how this turned out. You have to flip over the top grate to get it to fit, but I think it's well worth it. I continued installing the cabinet fronts and then I had to move on to the toilet. There were quite a few different parts that I needed to finish installing on the toilet before I could put up the last cabinet front. First, I needed to add these support beams to make it strong enough to sit on. I'm so glad I remembered to check whether or not these fitted because they didn't and I had to move the beam further along to make it fit. Then I installed a side piece to separate the toilet from a little storage area for toilet paper and cleaning products. Then I started installing hinges. I've used sprung ones for the very bottom and I've got these tiny hinges to separate the toilet seat from the underneath. Very sadly, I didn't leave quite enough space for these hinges, so I ended up needing to trim a small part off of the toilet seat to get them to fit. I still need to add a hinge for the lid for the toilet, but it was starting to get late and I was desperate to get this final cabinet front on, so I started doing that. I had a quick look at hinges for my overhead units as I'd bought a few types and I wasn't sure which one was going to work. And that's the end of day 44. I'm so pleased with how these cabinets are looking and I will be back tomorrow with day 45.